Let's stay with that semiconductor trade. By the way, the biggest laggard out there among all S&P 500 industries in today's trading. Every single name in the S&P semis industry group is down on the day, except for Intel, as the market grapples with potential Trump tariffs and export controls on those semis. So joining us now is BofA Security Senior Semiconductor Analyst Vivek Arya on this. Maybe, Vivek, I'll start with the same question that I just asked Christina, which is how long will it be before a homegrown Chinese chip company becomes a true competitor to Nvidia?
Sure. So I think let's quickly review what we heard last night. Number one, demand for Nvidia's products is exceptionally strong. So even though the sales to China as a proportion of their sales have come down, but look at how much the US hyperscalers are spending, look at how much the European Commission is planning to spend, look at how much France is planning to spend. Number two, the technology transition that we are going through, which is a move to inferencing of these new reasoning models. The computing intensity required to process these models is going up by a factor of 100. Right? So this whole DeepSeek moment has actually energized a lot more spending rather than less spending. So demand environment is very strong. The technology transition is working in their favor. And now they're starting to ship their Blackwell product, where shipments in the last quarter were twice as what we had estimated. So I think that's the good news. When it comes to competition in China, the thing to keep in mind is that as much as about 14% of their sales are exposed to China, it's spread across gaming, across automotive, and across data center. What they're shipping to China are very low-end products that in the majority of cases are being used for a lot of consumer-grade applications. So I'm not surprised to see competition come up in China, but the one other point to keep in mind is that the advantage of using Nvidia products is that they're already certified to work with a lot of the Western large language models. So it's a really turnkey product that whether it's a customer in China and Europe and the US, they feel very confident in buying because they know they have the full weight of the software and the developer ecosystem behind them.
So, Vivek, do you stay bullish on Nvidia, kind of the broader space? Would you make any comment that would extend so far as those who are supplying power and, data center support and all the rest of the daisy chain?
Yes, I think that, from what we have heard from the company and more importantly, what we have heard from their customers, whether it is Microsoft, whether it is Meta, whether it is Amazon, they were all aware of the innovations that DeepSeek spoke about. So DeepSeek was actually more of a surprise to Wall Street. It was not a surprise to the technology industry. This is all in the open source. And after hearing that, the customers are still planning to spend a lot more. I think that's the most important aspect of this narrative, that the demand environment is exceptionally strong. And now you have a stock which is growing 50 to 60% a year, which is twice as fast as, by the way, how their customers are growing spending, and it's trading at less than 1 times their earnings growth. Right? If you look at the S&P 500 or if you look at the other Max 7 stocks, they are trading at 2 times their earnings growth. So from that perspective, we think Nvidia is very compellingly valued. But at the same time, what happens is that every time the company reports a few days in advance, expectations go up. So, we go through this kind of same song and dance about expectations. And to be fair, the product transition that they are going through for Blackwell, they were able to deliver a lot of product, but the initial ramp-up costs are high. We think these are short-term issues. As we get through to their GTC conference and then to the back half, we will start to see their margins expand. And I think that's going to help re-energize the stock. So we took up our estimates and we took our price target to $200.